So this is Night Dragon. So what we'll do, we'll start off by getting out our dark blue. So I'll move this to one side and I'm going to use some ultramarine. And what I want to do is create a slightly, I haven't taken the top off of it. Create a slightly more opaque colour. So I'm going to take some ultramarine and I'm also going to take some cerulean blue and mix a little bit with it. So probably, I don't know, probably about a third. So I've got ultramarine, which is a dark purpley blue. Has everyone got that one? Yeah? Awesome. And some cerulean. So cerulean is like, it could also be called sky blue. It might be called something like cyan would also be a good colour. Any of those, just the two blue colours together. And then I'm going to use a 1/2 inch flat brush and I'm going to add a bit of water to those two colours and get it into the consistency of yogurt. So you can see down the bottom, I hold my plate up so you guys can see. And we're basically, by combining those two colours, rather than me adding a bit of white to the paint, which is what I would normally do to make a colour a bit more opaque, I don't actually want it any lighter. So I'm using that second blue colour to make the paint a bit more opaque, so it covers my paper a bit flatter and just a little bit more workable, really. So once we've got this in, if we want to, we can go back over it with neat ultramarine. It will give us a good base to work from. But to paint ultramarine straight onto a white paper or canvas, it can be quite tricky to get it really flat. So I'm just going to slightly change that there. That's a bit better. Oh, okay. See, I can tell that I'm recording because you lot have all gone quiet now. So first thing we need to do is basically put in our dragon's spine and tail. We know we want our head up here and we want a kind of a curve that's going to come down out the bottom of the canvas and then our tail's going to loop back up again. So be really bold with this. Okay, so I'm going to come down about 1/4 of a way. So if we find a half of our canvas, find half of that again and put a little spot in the middle of our canvas. Everyone okay with that? Got their paint and everything? Yeah? Awesome. Yeah, you guys all ready? Hetty and Oliver, you guys okay? Yeah, just give me a thumbs up if you're all right. Yeah, excellent. So first thing we need to do is to work out where our spine's going to go. So we've got this spot in the middle. We're going to have our head up here and we're going to do a big sweeping S shape that's going to come down like this in this lovely curve shape. We're going to go right off the middle, off the bottom. Oh, I've chocolate overdosed. I can't even speak now. That's not good, is it? And then we're going to imagine that our tail loops down out of the bottom of our canvas and then about 1/4 way in from the left-hand side, we're going to come back up again. Okay. So at the moment we've got a snake. We've got a blue snake. So be really bold, nice sweeping curve. Don't be don't be timid with it. Don't make it all looking quite straight because we want this really dynamic, action-filled kind of pose of our dragon flying. And then at the end of this line that we've done, we're going to put a circle. Again, be quite big and bold with it. This is going to be our dragon's head and we want to be quite big with it. So this is our first of our basic shapes.
Tony, is
Yeah.
it okay if I like go off a bit? Because can I paint that back with the background?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. These are just planning marks. If you go wrong, that's the point of a planning mark. You can change it. So it's just the same as if you'd done a pencil mark, but we don't need to rub this out. So that's cool. So if you imagine your S shape came straight through the middle of your big circle and carried on in its little S shape like that, you can do a smaller circle next to your big one on that line. That's going to be your dragon's nose. Okay, so that S shape that we did the circle on, we're going to carry it on a little bit. So keeping that same line and same curve, and we're going to just make it a little bit longer and then put a smaller circle on it. Okay. So give me a thumbs up when you've done that. Excellent. Cool. So next we need a bit of a body. So we're going to leave a gap. We want roughly the same size again as our head was, our big circle. So if you put your fingers up here like that and almost measure it, and then move that down the neck a bit and put a little mark where your thumb was, then you get the space roughly the same. So now we need to give our dragon a bit of a body shape. So I'm going to draw an oval, but we want quite a narrow one. Dragons are slimline because they fly, so they need to be kind of quite aerodynamic. So I'm gonna do an oval, but I'm still kind of gonna keep that shape that spine uses. So the body is bending with it. So I suppose it's more like a sausage than an oval, isn't it? We've currently got, what is it we're painting? We're painting a barbecue. So we've got our tomatoes and our sausages. I don't think much of this stick that this kebab's on though. So we've given ourselves a neck there now. Next thing we're going to do is this little bit of tail coming up here. We're going to give ourselves a triangle on the end. Be quite bold again, quite a big triangle like that. It looks like a hot dog. It does. That's what I was saying. We got a hot dog with like a tomato on the end and maybe like, or a baby tomato and an onion. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to join up our neck here where our head is to our body. So we want to kind of sweep out like that to meet the two sides. So can you see we've got it thicker down near the hot dog and thinner up near the head. So if anyone at any point wants me to have a look, just hold their picture up and let me know. Fantastic. These are gonna look like some good barbecue hot dogs, these. Fantastic, yeah. Lovely bold shapes there, Lana. Awesome. Okay, so we've got one more thing to put in before, yeah, excellent, Gabby. We're gonna put in our dragon's ears before we put in our wings, because then we know what space we've got available to put our wings in. So when you're ready, give me a thumbs up so I can demonstrate this bit. Okay. Samara and Holly, you guys okay? Yeah, ready to do the next bit? So what we're going to do is we're going to draw two lines that go straight out. Can you see that this is parallel to the spine, to the S shape that we did. So they run in straight lines along the side, and then we're going to bring those in to make those into triangles. Okay? So that's our dragon's ears. So now we know we've got all of this space and all of this space to put our wings in. So I'm going to grab my original painting again, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean about our wings. So if you imagine we've got our big sausage here, our big hot dog sausage, and our wings join on to where the shoulders would be of our dragon. So they would be up here where our sausage meets our neck, and our wings are going to come down, loop away, loop back up and down again. Okay, so this is the same thing. So this one's slightly more folded in than this one, but you can change yours slightly to fit into whatever space you've got. So if you've got more space this side, stretch your wing out more this side. If you've got more this side, stretch it out that side, or tuck it in. So work with the space that you've got. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do, so our shoulders are here on our dragon, where our hot dog meets our neck, and we're going to come looping down. So these are make-believe. They don't have to be exactly as I did them with my original. They're only going to fit in the space that we have to work with. So I'm going to loop up, not go too close to the face, and then I'm going to loop out again. Okay, so you can change this to fit into what space you've got, and I'm going to do the same. So starting at that shoulder again, I'm going to loop up, or should I say loop out and up and then down. Okay, and then the backs of our wings. So we're going to start off with just like one big curved line, and then we'll do our scoops afterwards. So on this side, I'm going to loop this out like here. So now I'm working from the base of my hot dog. And this side, I'm going to loop up more and down because I want to fit it around that tail. Okay, so, and then I'm going to put a little point there. So the great thing with this painting is we've got a lovely flat black background we're going to put in. So if we've gone a bit wrong, it really doesn't matter because we can change it. So at the moment we look like we've got hot dog bats, haven't we? Okay, so last job we need to do with our planning right now is we are going to just join our body onto our tail. So just the same way as we did with our neck up here, we are going to just make it fatter up near the body and thinner down as it goes further away. And then everything that we've done on our dragon, we can paint that blue. So get a nice flat blue colour and get it all blocked in.
Should I use just ultramarine, Tony, or could I use the darker purple?
So I'd go with, did you mix the two blues together at the beginning? Yeah, so use that for now, just because that will give you a much flatter base to paint your ultramarine onto if you want to. Okay. So don't forget, if your paint's starting to get a little bit on the thick side, add a bit of water to it. Not too much, but just enough to get it to that right consistency that you want. And I'm just going to paint everything blue. So don't forget, we don't want our background or anything like that blue. We just want to do inside where we've done our dragon. So I'm going to paint in all of the wings. You might want to switch over to a bigger brush to do this if it's taking ages. A bigger brush will have a couple of benefits. One, you'll paint much quicker, but the other thing is it also helps to get your paint a little bit flatter. So this particular painting, we're going to be building up in layers, so it doesn't have to be perfectly flat. So the other thing to keep in mind with when you're painting is don't use too much paint. So everyone who paints in my sessions hears me say this a lot, but it's really tricky, really difficult to control paint if you've got too much of it on your brush. So, and it takes forever to dry. So it's always better to build up your layers of paint, thin layers, and go over things a couple of times to get them really flat, than to put on masses and masses of paint. It's really difficult to kind of get thick, heavy paint flat when it doesn't want to go. So I can see some very beautiful colours going on here.
Tony, my
Yeah.
dragon looks like quite much lighter than yours does. I don't know if it's just because on the screen.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I look at yours on the screen, it looks the same as mine. Okay. Yeah. So we've there's three of us all trying to work from here today. So my daughter's doing her homework and my partner's working upstairs in my office and I'm down here. And yeah, and so they've all nicked my good lights. Fantastic. So Lana, what I would do, if you have a look at your tail, yeah, thicken your tail. Have a look at mine for a sec. Can you see how my tail's quite thick up here near the body? Yeah, so imagine it's like a bit of an ice cream cone. God, all I'm talking about is food today. So yeah, just imagine it's a bit of an ice cream cone and you want it just kind of slotting on the bottom of the body. Once you have got everything kind of blocked in, have a look. Oh, lovely, Daisy. Fantastic. Have a look at your dragon. Well, now you've kind of got it blocked in and just have a look to see, is it looking balanced? Is there any bits that you'd like to tweak? Now's oh, lovely, Isabel. Fantastic. You've got a lovely movement to yours. Oh, that's fantastic. So it's saying your name's Lindsay, but you don't look like a Lindsay to me. Beautiful, Danny. So I'm looking at mine and I'm thinking my wings aren't looking very balanced. So I'm going to just make this right hand one a bit wider. And that's why you do planning, basically. You do your planning so that if you want to change anything, you can do before it's too late. The other thing that we just need to do with this colour before we move on is actually, so our face at the moment, we've got this kind of snout thing and we're just going to join it up a little bit better with our face. So I'm going to come round with the circle and then come out a little bit. So can you see? So instead of it going in and out, I just rounded that off so it comes in slightly and up before it gets to the small. So instead of scooping in and then scooping back out again, so instead of being like this, which is what it was, I've gone like that down and curved it like that. So you guys don't have to paint that bit. That's fine. That was just me showing you what I meant. Once you've finished with your blue, grab yourself a bit of a tissue and give your brush a good wipe out. So it's always better to give your brush a good clean before you put it in your water, because you get your water really dirty really quickly and you'll have to keep changing it.
I have to say, Tony, this is completely different from the class we did this morning.
Is it?
I'm telling you, the sketching this morning, and I'm going, okay, yeah, we do this, and then we have to erase lines and this, and I was like, oh my goodness. This is a lot easier, blocking it out and everything.
Excuse me, I've accidentally went over one of my ears.
That's okay, that's not a problem. So let's have a look.
1 second, I'm trying to get my
paper. Oh, that's okay. So we're going to paint in our background in a second. So you can paint over that bit.
Okay.
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 So well done for telling me though. So it can always be sorted out. There's never any problems with painting. You can always fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave this to dry off a little bit before we start putting our next layers on.
I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, so we're going to grab some black. So we're going to fill in all the bits that we've left white. We're going to fill in. So this is not kind of like the end of it. We can come back and tweak some of the black and sharpen edges and things like that. So don't worry about this being absolutely perfect at this point. So grab yourself some black when you're ready. If you're still going with your blue, carry on, no problem at all. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that same brush that I've been painting with to get most of my background in, but the bits around my dragon, I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush so that I can be a little bit more accurate with my details. So I'm just going to get this all blocked in. So again, just like with the blue, I'm just using enough paint to cover my canvas without drowning it. So you'd be really surprised at how far you can get your paint to stretch before you actually have to reload your brush. So you don't have to drown your canvas at all. So I'm just going to go round. And again, it's much better if your paint's not going flat and even, it's actually much better to come back and give it another coat later on than it is to try and work with too much of it.
Just say excuse me.
You don't have to say excuse me. What's the matter?
So do you have to fill in all the white bits?
Yeah, so if you have a bit where you went a bit wrong and you're not sure what to do, avoid that for now, and we'll come back and we'll sort that out in a minute, okay?
I've got a lot of white like dots in it, that's all.
White dots in?
The dragon.
Okay, well leave those just do the kind of the outside. Don't worry about your dragon at the moment.
By the way, are you supposed to tell the difference between the body and the wings?
Not necessarily at the moment.
Because I can't actually. It looks like the tail is supposed to be on the wing at the moment, not on the wing.
So let's have a look for a second, Hetty.
Slightly going.
Move it over a little bit. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. So, I mean, you could even make those wings a bit bigger if you wanted to.
Okay, because
if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just do it.
I'm trying to make it look like the tail is supposed to connect with the.
So I think what you need to do, you know, like I said to Lana about making the tail to look like a bit of an ice cream cone. So it was thicker up near the body and thinner down as it went further away. Maybe try doing that.
Okay.
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 Cool.
No, use the black. Use the black in this first.
So I'm leaving a really big gap at the moment around my face of my dragon because I'm going to come back and use a thinner brush to sort that areas out. And I'm also going to work around my tail. So I'm going to do the scoops on my wing in a bit, but at the moment I'm just going to block those in how we planned them for now. So I've taken this painting of this dragon down really into the most basic shapes that I could. And then from that, I'll start to put in details. So any kind of drawing that you do or painting, it's always a really good idea to work like that. So say if you were drawing a house, you would do the kind of the main square area of the house, the main kind of building bit, and then you would from there put in your windows, which is kind of what we're doing. Because if you painted all these beautiful windows in first before you drew your house, you might possibly put your windows in the wrong place. And then you'd have to start all over again. So, which we don't really want. So, going right up to the blue where I can. If your blue is still a little bit wet in places, just leave a little bit of a gap between them and come back and do them afterwards. Right, I've got most of mine blocked in and I'm now going to give my brush a wipe out and I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush. So I'm just going to go around the edges, up around the edge of the neck. So obviously, because my brush is smaller, I can't hold so much paint on it. So I'm going to have to reload it more often. Around where the circle was. Don't forget, keep having a look at your painting as you go. And this is still at the point where you can change things. So if it helps you to close your eyes and kind of imagine what your painting you want it to look like. That will help you to decide whether things are in the right place or not. You might find, some people find taking a photo of it with their phone, that really helps because you can see what it would look like from a distance, or just standing up and having a look at it from a distance, just to see if you it's looking balanced and stuff. I can see everyone's paintings on screen, so I only ever get to see them from what they look like from a distance. So sometimes it's easier for me to tell if things are looking balanced and even than you guys. So in the same way as you can look at mine and go, oh, that's a bit wonky. Oh, she's not done a good job there. So. So I've got the top half of mine all kind of blocked in, and now I'm just going to go around things like my tail. Make sure you get a nice sharp point on your dragon's tail on all three of the corners. So don't forget, if your black's starting to thicken up as well and doesn't want to give you a nice smooth edge, the likelihood is that it's just starting to dry out and needs a little bit more water on it. So don't forget, not too much paint on your brush. So that does make particularly painting edges really tricky. So a little bit more water. Now I'm just going to go round either side of the bottom of the tail down here. So there's two ways to deal with if you've got too much paint on your painting. So number one is a thing called tonking, which is where you lay a bit of kitchen roll or tissue over the top of your painting, rub the back of it without moving the tissue, and then you peel it off, and that will take any excess paint off. And then with a clean brush, you can just wipe in any bits of paint where you might have gone a bit wrong. Or the other way of doing it is you can use a hairdryer. So if you have gone too much with the paint, so remember the best way to get it off, I'll show you again, is a piece of kitchen roll or tissue, lay it onto your paper without moving it, rub the back of it, and then peel it off. And that will take the top layer of paint off. And with a clean brush, just you can spread around what is left, and that will help you get a nice even amount of paint without it being too thick. So yeah, Gabby, awesome. Looking really good. Beautiful, dark, rich ultramarine you've got there. Oh, wow, Penny, very dark and moody. Lovely. Looking good, Danny. So I think you need to just have a look at your right hand ear because it's not in much of a point at the moment. Yeah, so just sort of take it up. See how mine's got that nice point back up towards the head, and you've got it on your left hand ear but not on your right hand ear. So let's have a look, Lindsay.
And Tony, I think I did the ear wrong because no way you did the point. I did it from like this part to there instead of that part to there.
Oh, okay. So what you can do, hang on, my lovely. Let me grab something I can draw on. So at the moment, yours, I see what you, so you've got your head here and your nose there, and then this ear comes out and in. Your neck goes like that, and at the moment you kind of got a lump here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all you need to do is take this bit, just paint that bit in black. Can you see, do you see what I mean? Yeah, awesome. So anyone else want me to have a look at theirs?
Is this okay?
Oh, that's lovely. Fantastic. Wow, yours got big ears. That can hear all those Vikings that are trying to listen for it, look for it. Beautiful, Daisy. Fantastic. Oh, so I don't know if that's Samara or Holly, but that looks really good. Fantastic. Beautiful. He's looking awesome, guys. So who haven't I seen? Hetty and Oliver, how are you guys getting on? All right? Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you're doing okay. Awesome. So, and I'm really sorry, Lillian's friend, I've already forgotten your name. Are you guys okay? Yeah? Yeah, fantastic. So this is the bit where you guys all tell me that you've gone so thick with your blue paint that it's not dried yet. Yeah? Well, it doesn't entirely matter with this next step because we're going to work around it anyway. We're going to start to put in our next layer of colour. So if you're still painting in your black background, really don't panic about it. Just carry on doing that, and I'll just talk through this next step, and you guys can sort of listen while you're still painting. So as I was saying earlier on, so cooler, darker colours basically move away from you or look like they move away from you, and warmer, brighter colours come towards you. So to create the 3D-ness that we want to on our dragon, we're going to use that dark blue that we've painted with to start off as our shadow, and then we're going to put in our mid-tone, which is going to be this purple colour, and then on top of that we're going to put a slightly lighter purple, and then we're going to start to put in some pinks and some pale blues as highlights.
So Tony,
yeah,
I use my darker purple and lighter purple.
So yeah, absolutely, Penny. So the only thing that you need to do is get a tissue, put a little bit of a tiny spot of your purple, your dark purple, and just check that it's not darker than the ultramarine colour that we've done. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just like we did where we had our hot dog shape for our body, we're going to paint in our body. We're going to paint in our neck, but can you see down the sides we've still got this darker colour, this sort of ultramarine-y, bluey colour. So we're going to leave that, and we're just going to paint down the middle. We're going to fill in the body, we're going to go up the neck, we're going to work on the head, and then what we're going to do when we've done all of that, we're going to start to work on our wings. So we're going to follow this would be where the sort of the main bone is, and then there would be bones that come down on each side. We're going to get those in purple, and then that will give us where to put our scoops on our wings. Okay.
Can I just ask, do we just need to add a little bit of white to the blue that we did originally for the next colour? Or...
So have you got a purple paint?
Yeah, not much. We've got a little bit, yeah.
Okay, in that case, have you got a pink?
Yeah.
Okay, so add some of the pink.
Well, we've made a pink. We've got red and we've got white.
Oh,
So
okay.
Made a pink.
In that case, so that pink will be quite sludgy if you try and make purple out of it, because red has yellow in it. And so, yeah, there's a whole kind of paint pigment conversation to be had there. So if
got this one. That one. That's all that's left.
Okay. Do you know what? I'd go with your pink that you've made in that case.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So your purple won't be quite as bright. Or you actually, do you know what? Maybe use a bit of the purple and some of the pink.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. All
Can
right.
I use pink for the eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Because the really dark purple is quite a bit darker than the ultramarine, I added some of the lighter purple.
okay, yeah, cool. As long as you kind of are a little bit lighter, it'll be fine. Okay. So, okay. So is everyone got their background in and ready to move on?
Not yet.
How are you oh, excellent, Leah. Looking fantastic. How far have you got, Hetty?
We're not far. We're nearly there.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit around the tail. Oh, that's it for me.
Okay. Do you need a bit of help with the head, or have you managed to sort that out?
We've got the head.
Excellent. Okay. So what I'm going to do, when you're ready, Hetty and Oliver, have you got any purple paint?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I was just saying to Penny about just paint a little tiny spot on a tissue and make sure that it's not darker than your blue. Yeah, if it is, just add a little bit of white to it. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I've got purple is one of those colours that does kind of sometimes look like the perfect colour when it's wet, and then when it dries, it's a bit darker. So I am going to use some of my purple, and I am going to use a little bit of white to it. So I think I've got the same one as you, Penny. Yeah. So sorry, Penny, say that again, lovely.
I don't know, but it might be a light.
You're done with your black now, or not?
So I've got, mine's called pale mauve, but I think they're joking because it's not very pale at all. So you've got a choice there. You can either add, if you've got like a mid-pink colour, you can add a bit of that, or you can add some white.
Excuse me, small paintbrush.
That's right.
I'm not mixing loads of, oh, that one's nearly run out. I'm not mixing loads of white to it. I don't want a lilac. I just want to lighten it a little bit. Okay. This will also help with the paint going onto your canvas.
Yeah, it's lilac. Yeah, first made a lilac colour for that. You can borrow my paint, it's fine. I can probably adjust that. I can adjust it. Yes, we need to.
So don't forget as well, this is, you know, this painting, it's not set in stone. So if your purple is a bit on the dark side, then just stop, add a bit more white and carry on. You don't have to keep going with what you've done. And the other thing is, if you need to, you can always darken up your blue a bit more as well. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do with my purple is I'm going to paint in my hot dog from earlier. So I can just about still see the lines. And what I'm going to do, around the edges of it, I don't need this to have a sharp edge. So if you can see my edges, they're not sharp. So I don't need that at all, because it will help to create some texture to my dragon's body.
Tony?
Yes.
Is this the dark or light purple?
So this is kind of the darker purple,
Okay.
but it needs to be lighter than the blue. Okay. So I've got my hot dog in, and then I'm going to carry on. And exactly what I was saying about, we don't need sharp edges on this purple, because it will help to create a nice soft edge as well. So don't have too much paint, and I'm going to follow the neck up. So I'm kind of painting like a smaller version inside the blue. I'm going to go round my circle. And if your paint's still a little bit wet and it gets a bit mixed up, that doesn't really matter, because it's all kind of adding a bit of texture to this. I'm going to go over my ears, both of them. And I'm going to go around my dragon's nose. So, but you can see the blue is already starting to create a bit of a shadow. If we need to go around the blue with a darker one, we can do. And then I'm going to carry my hot dog down, just like I did. So I'm doing a thinner ice cream cone along the tail, and then I'm going to come up the other side like that. So our tail is not exactly the same as our body, and what we want to do is, so they're kind of flat triangles, and then they've got a bit of a kind of spine, some bones going through the middle. So what we want to do is just go through the middle of our tail, and then I'm going to paint just along the right hand side like that. So again, when you think you're pretty much there, just take a little step back and have a look at it and see what's happening and whether it looks all nice and balanced. Yeah, fantastic. These are looking awesome. Give me a little thumbs up when you've got your hot dog in and your head. Yeah. Oh, see, Lee's got really serious now. She's got a brush in her mouth and she's painting with another brush. Oh, serious now. So the next step.
It's only because I was doing the body one in one brush, and then you were like, oh, we're going to do the neck and the head. And I thought, no, I need a smaller brush for that now.
Yeah, good choice, good choice. So, Hetty, are you guys getting on okay with your bodies? Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you're okay. Yeah, fantastic. So now we're going to look at these wings, because these wings are very flat and boring at the moment. So first job is going to be painting. So we've got these bones that come out of the shoulder. They're going to come up. So I'm still leaving that little bit of blue around. And then they're going to come down. So we're following those lines again. But I'm hoping you guys can see I'm really not like getting sharp edges to it at all. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to go follow that same curve that I've done with my wing, but leaving that blue edge. So this is kind of where our shoulders are, and then our bones come up. If you ever get a chance to have a look at like a diagram of a bird skeleton, their wings are actually quite similar to a hand that's stretched out kind of thing. This is like this big sort of bones here are kind of like an arm, and then you have almost like the finger bones coming down, the same with a bat. Okay. And then this is the bit where we decide where we're going to put those bones into our wings. So leave plenty of space, only put in as many as you've got space. Don't try and squeeze too many in, because you'll lose that depth that we're trying to get between the wing spaces. And go right down to the bottom of the wing, but we're going to work out then what we're going to do. So with our scoop. So if I show you what I mean, so I'm going to put my first one here. So I'm turning my brush on my side to get a slightly thinner line. I'm going to leave a gap and put my next one here. And then I'm going to put my third one here. So, and then I'll show you why we're doing that. So so don't you guys worry about doing this. I'm just showing you why we've done it like this. And then what I'm going to do is take some black, and in a minute, once we've finished, I'm going to scoop that out. So do you see why we've put those lines in at this point? Because then we can do our scoops to work with it. So, but don't worry about doing the black bit right now, guys. That was just me showing you why we're doing it in the way we're doing it. So, and then I'm going to do the same again. So I'm going to turn my brush on its side, have a line here. I'm going to have another one here. So I've left a nice big space in between them. I'm going to have this one here. So this wing's stretched out a bit more. So you might have them a bit closer together at the top and a bit more spread out towards the bottom. So I'm just going to brush over. I've hardly got any paint on my brush at all. And I'm just going over these purple lines. Just smudging them basically. I'm smudging these purple lines out.
Tony, we've got to go for 2 minutes.
Tony, we've just got to swap the computers over, so Gabby will rejoin in 30 seconds.
Yes, of course, no worries. And I'm just... So what you can also do is these bones would be thicker up near the body, so you can thicken those as well up there. So just like your arms are thicker up near your shoulders, so would our dragon's wings be. And when you've got all of your purple on your wings. Then what you can do is just go along and do the scoops in black underneath. So I'm just going to scoop out and down. So I go in but where it's dark blue and out where it's purple. Like that. Yeah, lovely. Fantastic, Penny. And up again. So do your scoops and then have a look at it and just see whether you think it's scooped enough, if it needs a bit more. But just the thing to remember, so you scoop in where it's dark blue and out when it's where it's purple. So there, I've made mine a bit more scoopy. Is there an actual word for more scoopy? Scoopier? Don't know. Fantastic. Oh, here's Gabby back now. Hi, Gabby. You back okay? Oh, fantastic. This looks good, guys.
Tony, we're using a new device where the video doesn't work, so we're here.
Okay, that's no problem. So all that you've missed is us doing the scoops at the bottom. So we've gone in where it's blue and out where it's purple. So you get this scoop edged. So, Gabby, how am I going to get a group shot at the end? No. Fantastic, Penny. Looking beautiful. Excellent, Danny. Oh, lovely. Yeah, these look really good. What we're going to do next, we're going to just give this a moment to dry off. So what I'd like you to do, grab yourself a bit of white and a small brush, and we're going to dot some stars around. So that'll give our purple a moment to dry. So I've got about 3 white tubes on the go at the moment. I've got a brand new one and 2 that are almost dead. And I'm just trying to eke the last bits of paint out. So I'll no doubt make some very, very rude sounding noises trying to get the paint out of these. And I just want to say it's the paint and not me. So, oh, got quite a lot out there then. That was a lot tamer than I was expecting. So I'm just going to use, I've got like a little number 2 round brush, add a little bit of water. And this is the tough bit, try and randomly paint white spots so they don't look like they're in a pattern, which is never, ever easy. So without trying, you're always going to end up with them kind of being in lines and in sort of polka dot patterns and stuff like that. So, and you can vary the sizes as well. So. So I'm just going to pop those around. Do some really small, tiny ones. It's hard to get them random, isn't it? So that they don't look like they're in a pattern. So that's why generally I always say it's much better to use a toothbrush and splatter them, but there's no way we'd be able to do this painting without kind of covering our dragon with splatters of white paint as well. So, and I know he's meant to be a night dragon, but he doesn't need to be all sort of splattery, does he? I think he's got enough going on. So that's a few white spots. Hopefully looking a bit randomly. Yeah?
Could you put some faint white spots as stars in the distance?
Oh yeah, that looked good. So do you know what I did a Star Wars painting and I've done like pink and blue spots in the background so that you get all the different kind of colours of stars in it. So yeah, you could do some pink ones. They would look really good. These are looking good, guys, really good. Fantastic. Again, we're going to go back and work on our dragon's body. It doesn't matter if your purple isn't perfectly dry because we're building up another layer of a similar colour on top. So, and we want that kind of roughness to it. So, looking good, Penny.
And my dragon's sort of in like, when it's cloudy, you don't really have many stars, but my dragon's like in somewhere where it's like not cloudy at all, so it's just got them.
So somewhere where there's not lots of light pollution, so you can see hundreds and thousands of them. Yeah, awesome.
And Tony,
yeah.
My stars at the top, they look like they're dazzling on camera.
They do, don't they?
I don't know how that's happening.
I don't know either. They look very good. What we're going to do next is lighten up some of our purple, and we're just going to, with a very small amount of paint, start to just build in a little bit of lighter areas again. So this is coming out towards us, so we're creating a bit more 3D, but we really don't want to have much paint on our brush when we do this. So I'm going to take some of my white, and I always mix way too much colour. So some of my purple, and I'm making myself more of a lilac-y colour. Not really light, because we're going to go lighter with our pink and pale blues in a bit, but a bit, just like one step lighter. And then on my palette, I'm going to scrape most of the paint off onto the side. And that we're going to start off with our hot dog. And we're just going to start to brush our circle in here. And because I've got a really small amount of paint on my brush, it's kind of not going solid. And that's what we want. We want it to be kind of not solid and like bits of the colour underneath showing through. And that will help to make it look a bit more 3D. And then I'm going to do the same with the neck. So again, hardly any paint on. I'm going to go up the neck. I'm going to go down. But can you see, because I haven't got much paint on my brush, this is a thing called dry brushing, and it gives you a bit of texture to your brush, and it doesn't make a sharp contrast. So it's great for if you want to sort of blend things a bit and not have sharp edges. So, and then I'm going to go, so I'm going to go just on the left-hand side of my dragon's face, like this, and just on the left-hand ear, so the top. So just a little bit. So we're starting to create a little bit of light and shade on our dragon's face. How's everyone finding that? That's quite different, isn't it, to paint with no paint or hardly any paint? And then I'm going to go down the tail, looking good, looking really good, guys. So from that hot dog body down the middle of the tail, I'm going to go up the middle where the spiny bit is on our tail. And then again, turning my brush sideways, hardly any paint. I'm going to go just down the middle of my wings, really rough and loose and hardly any paint on. And can you guys see on the camera where I'm starting to build up the lighter paints? It's starting to give a bit of 3D and structure to our painting. And that's what we're aiming for.
Tony, so where exactly did you say it's mainly on the left-hand side
of the face?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's if you imagine the light shining from the top.
Okay.
So it's kind of this top half and just a little bit onto the kind of muzzle. Would it have would that be a muzzle on a dragon? Nose? Like a fang area bit that it bites with? The sharp, fiery end.
And then it's just throughout the top of the wings and through the body.
Yeah, so all those areas that we've painted purple, basically it's almost like we're painting a thinner version inside of it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Tony?
Yes.
For my Auntie Hannah.
Sorry, say that again?
I'm doing this painting for my Auntie Hannah, and she quite likes dragons, and I think she'll really like this one.
Oh, good. I hope so.
I've done like more than like 10 paintings with you, so I'm really good at them.
I know. I like seeing you at my paintings.
I know I'm going to be here on Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday.
Oh, wow. You're painting all, I think, more than me. Oh, these are looking great, guys. Can you see we're starting to get like a little bit of shape now, aren't we? We're starting to get those wings are starting to bow out and the body's starting to come out towards us. So the next step, if you guys give me a thumbs up when you're ready, you've got a choice with your next colours. You can either go pale blue or you can go pink. So we're going to use both, but you can swap this out. So if you want a bit more of a girly dragon, you can go with pink next. If you want more of a kind of boy-y dragon, you can go with blue next, okay?
Tony, I've got these 3 colours. Do they look good for the dragon?
They do. So what I would do are you going for more of a girl dragon or a boy dragon?
I'm not more of a girl, but it mainly more looks like a boy as well. Like a girl.
That's cool. So what you can do, this next step, use your darker pink, but you know, like with the purple where we had to make sure that the purple wasn't darker than the blue. Make sure, paint a little bit of your pink on your tissue and check that it's not darker than this last bit of purple. And then when we come to do the really light bit, use your pale pink, okay? So what I'd like you guys to do is, you've got a choice now, if I get my original. So you can swap this over. We're going to start to do this area here, which are kind of like the spines down the back of our dragon's neck. And we're also going to do these last highlight areas on our wings. And so if you want to, if you'd rather than doing these in blue, you want to do these in shades of pink, then you need a kind of slightly darker pink and a slightly lighter pink. If you're going with the blue, then you're going to need a slightly darker blue, like very slightly darker blue, and a very slightly lighter blue. And then you'll have some pink for your scales. Whereas if you're doing it the other way around and you're doing this in pink, then you'll just need the one blue for your scales. So it's totally up to you guys which way you want to do it. So I'm going to stick with the colour that I was doing it. So you'll need some white and you'll also need some blue. So you've got a little bit of a choice here. You can go with your ultramarine if you want, your ultramarine blue, or you can introduce a new sky, like use some of that sky or cerulean blue that we had earlier. And what you want is a bit of white and you want 2 shades of blue. So it's up to you. You can use some of your blue that you were using for your dragon. Use some of that. So I'm just going to mix mine up and I'll show you my 2 shades that I've got. So I can show you here, I've got 2 shades. So one's a lot lighter than the other one. And using the darker one.
Which blue are you using to add the white to?
So you can use, you know, the dark blue that we used here in the background, you can use that. Or if you want to grab a different shade of blue altogether, you can use that as well. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, with my darker blue or darker pink, whichever way you've gone, I'm just going to do one last little line down the back, really roughly, like I did with my other colours. So we're going to go down the spine. Again, hardly any paint. Can you see this really soft edge that we're doing? And we're going to go in the ears, like that. And we're going to bring this right the way down to the nose. And then we're also going to go across our wings. So this is with the slightly darker colour. Okay, so the slightly darker of the 2 blues. I'm then going to go along the edge of my tail triangle. on the left-hand side and up the middle there. So we've basically kind of gone back to that spine that we drew in at the beginning. And I'm going to go over the tops of all my bones. On my dragon. So you might want to make the wings where our shoulders are a little bit thicker. And you can make it a little bit thicker on the body, but really do a really light brush of it.
Is this the darker blue we're using?
Yes, yeah.
Can you use a white for this too?
Well, we're going to use some white in a minute. So the things that are going to be pointier, so if I show you what I mean, can you see where we've got our dots, which are the spines? We're going to use a little bit of white on those to make those stand out. Okay.
Oh.
Are you having some problems? Do you need...
Made some mistake.
So is it something I can help you fix?
Might be okay.
Okay. I'm going to use... I'm going to use I'm going to use my lighter blue now, and I'm going to switch over to one of my thinner brushes, the one that I was using along the edge. And with my light blue and my round brush, basically I'm going to paint in my spines. So along that S shape that we did to start off with. So can you see? Like this. And with my paler colour, these really stand out. They really look like they're coming up towards you. And I'm going to get smaller as I go up into the face. And the same with the tail. So, because you see a dragon there, their dragon side on their spikes. This is the kind of zigzag, triangular ziggy-zaggy bit on the top of our dragon. And they always get much smaller as they go near along the tail and and up near the head. And then I'm going to do some really small ones over down the triangular bit. So really diddy ones. Like that. And then with my palest blue, I'm going to go along the left-hand side of my tail. Everyone okay with that? Yeah? Lots of very concentrating people going on there. I know you're painting, you're busy. Beautiful. Excellent job. I'm going to use a little bit more of that pale just at the very tops of my wings up here. Just a really small amount. Just little touches of it. Really starting to get lots of shape happening. And then I'm going to, with that same round same round brush, I'm going to do some really good kind of like almost like little teardrop shapes in for the ears. If you want to, what you can do, and this is totally up to you, you can put a little highlight on the ear around the side of the face. And we've also got a bit of a nostril here, so you can put like 3/4 of an oval there. So we're going to have our eyes here, and so we can do a couple of little eyebrows as well. Okay. So we've got a little line just along, so if the light was shining from the top, we've got along the top of our dragon's head, and then around the top part of the nose, we've got a little oval that we're painting just 3 sides of it on the top, which is the nostril for our dragon. And then we're going to switch over to our pink. Okay, so I'm going to use the same brush. So if you've been doing that section in pink, this is where you're going to use your pale blue. Okay, I'm going to keep some of my other colours for my scales in a minute, but what I'm going to do is just do some kind of, we're going to make him kind of glow a bit. So we're gonna, the areas on the wings where we didn't put the lightest blue, I'm gonna just brush in some pink. Okay, or if you've done it in pink, you're gonna brush in some pale blue. So we're really starting to make our dragon glow. I'm going to do that on both wings. Get those real kind of night neon-y colours going on here. And I'm also going to do some little bit of shading along the top of our dragon's head again. Just some lines underneath. So is your dragon starting to glow a bit now? Not sure. Okay. And I'm also going to put some in on the right hand side. I think if you look at your dragon from a distance, you'd be quite surprised that it is glowing. Oh, lovely. That looks fantastic. Once you've got your pink or blue extra colour bits in, give me a thumbs up. Oh, wow, that's a lot of stars. Goodness me. Oh, lovely, Daisy. Fantastic. Oh, looking good, Danny. So if you need to, if it's not really showing up, kind of add a bit more pink. Don't be scared of using it. It gives this lovely kind of almost sort of neon-y glow to your dragon. And while you've got your pink out, I'm going to put some scales. So I'm just literally pressing my brush on the canvas and taking it off to paint my scales. And I'm going to go just like when we paint leaves, we work in little clusters. So I'm going to go down one side, then I'm going to go down the other. Leave a gap, do a couple more, come down, so I'm going over the purple and the blue sections. And I'm going to do a few little ones on his tail as well.
I can't, it's too glitchy.
It's looking good.
You okay, Gabby?
So you can do some pale, not the really pale blue, but the sort of middle blue colour. So those two lighter ones we did, if you use the slightly darker one, and you can do some scales in that as well, just like with the pink. I'm just going to work in clusters of them. I'm literally just doing the slightest movement of my brush, just pressing it down. I'm going to do some up here on the neck as well. You might find that you need to add a little bit of water.
Should I use some of my darker pink or my lighter pink?
You could use both.
Okay.
That'd look good. What really works on this is the mixture of the pale blues and the pinks. And then what we're going to do, just finally with these scales, is just in the middle. So everything in this, we're painting smaller and smaller inside stuff. We're just going to use some pure white, and we're just going to do a little line in the middle of each of the points of the zigzags that go along the back, because we're looking at them from the top. So these would be the very points on the spines of our dragon. And because we're painting that in pure white, that is the lightest colour, and that comes out towards us the most. You can do, if you want to, you can do a few little white scales. I wouldn't do too many because they'll show up a lot compared to your other ones. So, but you can do a few if you want. So actually I'm going to do a few scales up on the face as well. So I'm going to leave a space for doing my eyes. I'm going to do some scales up on the face too. So I've left a gap to put my dragon's eyes in up there in a minute. How's everyone getting on? Oh, that's looking good, Danny, with the pink.
I think I've done quite well, but I'm not sure about the eyebrows because I don't know if they look too big or not.
Well, why don't you wait till we've got the eyes in, and then you can judge it, because we're going to put really big dragon eyes on in a minute. Oh, that's lovely, Daisy. So when you've got all your scales on, give me a thumbs up and let me know. Okay. Just you so far, Danny. Oh, Danny and Penny. Okay, cool. So does anyone need any help before we get our eyes and our smoke on? No, all good? Excellent. So I'm going to show you guys the original again. And what we're going to do, last of all, is we're going to add this smoke that comes out from our dragon in swirls and also give our dragon some eyes. So with the eye colour and with the smoke, actually, you can do any colour that you fancy. If you want to give your dragon, you could do this in reds and oranges and yellows if you want to. So it's like more like flames. You can give them any colour eyes that you like. They can be bright yellow, bright green, bright orange, anything you fancy. So whatever you do though, whichever colour you pick, if you want to do pink, if you want to do, you could do blue, they wouldn't show up so much unless you use more of a sky blue. Just add a little bit of white to it so that it will like lift up from the background colours. So I'm open to suggestions and requests. So anyone want to give me a colour I should do my smoke and my eyes on mine? Go on, Hetty.
What about yellow?
Yellow. Okay, yeah, cool. Should I do like yellow and red, like flames?
Yeah, I want to do red and yellow.
Yeah, anyone else fancy trying that with me?
Yeah, because I already
Lorna.
I don't really want to add in red, but I might do red and orange instead.
Well, you could wait and see how mine comes out. So you've seen it in green. Okay, so yeah, so give me a thumbs up if you think I should do it in yellow and orange. Yeah, 1, 2. Oh, I think you've all voted there for that one. So this is what it looks like in shades of green so that you guys can see it. And I'm going to try it now in shades of oranges and yellows. So I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to take my red. I didn't get my red out. I'm going to have to lean over and grab it. Actually, I can use some of my pink. So I've got some yellow. I'm going to add some white to it just to make it a little bit lighter and so that the background doesn't show up. And the other thing, actually, I can show you guys while I do this. So let me grab a paintbrush. So you know when we were talking earlier about making pink and purple, and it's actually quite difficult to make purple from a red and white kind of colour because I was saying it has yellow in it. So if I take some yellow and some pink colour and mix those together, they make a like orange. They make an orangey red colour. And that is, so when you get orange paint or you get red paint, that's what I mean about it's got yellow in it, because basically they use yellow pigment, they use pink pigment and or rather magenta pigment and yellow to make red. So you don't have to go and buy loads of colours, but if you are ever going to treat yourself to an extra tube of anything, get magenta, because then that means you can pretty much make any colour that you want using that. Right, so I've got my sort of orangey colour, I've got my yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of white to my yellow just to make it a bit more opaque. My brush a quick clean out. And the first thing that I'm going to do with my yellow and white is get my eyes in. So we want really big dragon eyes, but if you have a look at the eyes on the original, can you see they're angled? So that's what we want to do, is do our eyes really big and angled. So I'm gonna go in and down and then follow it. So they fit really well into that shape that we did, where we did the big circle and the little one, and then kind of sort of rounded it out rather than it scooping in. So, and it's really, really important that you add that bit of white to your paint so that the background doesn't show through so much. So my dragon's got massive eyes and they're really glowing as well. And then while my paint's still wet, I'm going to take some orange and I'm just going to dab some all over. So they're really like, wow, wild dragon eyes. So you can dab a bit more yellow. So I've got this pattern. When I come back to put the pupils in, these will look absolutely amazing. And then I can do my smoke or flames coming out of my dragon's nostrils. And just like we were doing before, hardly any paint on my brush. So I'm going to dip it in my colour and then I'm going to scrape most of it off. And I'm going to start to, so my nostrils are here and here, and I'm going to start to put some spirals. And can you see, because I've hardly got any paint on my brush, it kind of looks like smoke rather than a really big solid colour. And as it comes away, it starts to fade as the paint runs out. And then the next one I can do one with orange. So I'm going to come down. So really tiny, tiny amounts of paint on your brush for doing this. Okay, guys? So I'm going to go back and do some more yellow ones. So I'm going to come out. I think I'm going to swirl across with this one. And another one here. You do a bit of a spiral and then come down. So, and what I'm doing is, even though I'm painting with very small amounts of paint, if I go over it a couple of times, I still get that broken line and I still get that mistiness that I wanted, but it starts to get a little bit more defined. Okay, you can start to see it a little bit better. So this one was a yellow one as well. So I'm just going to go backwards and forwards over those lines a few times. Everyone okay with their kind of smoke and their eyes, yeah? So really tiny amounts of paint here. So I'm going to do one that's going to come down here. Really shows up, particularly over the black, doesn't it? Even with a very small amount. And do some that's going to go over my body. And then I'm going to do some that come out of the top and goes over the other side. So I need to use some more orange. I haven't yet done many in orange, actually. So I'm going to go more over the night sky with this side, I think. I mean, you don't have to stick to these colours. I could put a pink one in if I wanted to as well. I might do that actually. Let's see how that looks. So I'm still going to scrape off any excess paint. Oh, that looks good in the pink. I'm going to do myself a little spiral. Oh, I like it. I really like it in these colours. So I'm going to do a few more right up the nose. So they are like flames coming out. On this side. Oh, wow. Mine's definitely a fire-breathing dragon. How's everyone doing? They're getting on okay? Yeah? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So the last thing that I'm going to do is with some black paint, I'm going to keep with my same brush and I'm going to add a few black scales and also the pupils in the eyes of my dragon. So I'm going to just do a line, you know, like cats have a line for my eyes. I think that looks really cool then. And then I'm just going to come along just in the same way. Like that. These are like the dark scales where the others have got the light shining on them. This is the absolute opposite. So my bit is always to put a little white spot in each eye or two, just a big one and a small one, just to give a little bit of.
Can I just ask, Khaleesa's done some rather large, thick lines with the paint. Is there any way she can?
Sorry, who was?
Let me have its mouth.
Hold it up. She's made them, and it's kind of ruined her face a bit.
Oh no. Hang on a second. Let me zoom. If I zoom into you, you'll appear on the video. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So. Oh, what, for your smoke?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can. That's lovely. Yeah, it is lovely what you've done. What you can do is just as soon as those are dry, have you got some of your face, the paint from your face left over? The sort of purple colours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait for the smoke to dry off, and then you can just go go over that bit again. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, but that has to be dry, otherwise you'll just smudge it.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. So with acrylic paint, anything, if ever you guys go wrong or you don't like a bit, all you need to do is let it dry and then you can paint over the top. So cool. So I'm gonna turn the video off now and then I can come round and have a look and give everyone some proper feedback. So I'm not saying bye to you guys, I'm just saying bye to the video. So if you've been painting along with us, and I'd love to see your paintings on the Facebook page or the group. So thanks and bye.